Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Robert, and this is a solo review of Dragons of Etchinstone. This is an 18 card game by Joe Klipfel, and you can get this from the Game Crafter or the PMP files from PMP Arcade if you want to print it at home. In the interest of disclosure, I got this with my own funds from the crowd sale that happened last year, and I received this recently. I've been playing it a bunch, so I'm going to share my thoughts with you. And I also posted a full playthrough of this. If you want to see how it plays, I'll leave a link to that. All right. First, let's start with a component overview. And that should be quick because this is a pretty minimalistic game. You get the talk box and 18 cards. No rulebook. You can download the rulebook PDF offered by the designer, and it is a 24-page rulebook. And there's this is the low-ink version, but there's a fancier version with background texture. All right. But now let's look at the talk box. Now, I'm a compulsive sleever, as I've stated in the past. So the sleeve cards are not gonna fit back in here in the talk box, sadly. But I do still keep it because it comes with some rules reminders, and also it comes with this very handy icon reference. So even if you plan to sleeve the game, the talk box does have its use. So yeah, no rulebook, keep that in mind. You're gonna have to print it or look at it on your device. Now for the cards, you get 18 cards. There's a dragon card. This is essentially the boss that you battle at the end. There's 4 different ones. I'll talk more about that later. And you get 16 action cards and the region card. I'll talk a bit more in detail about this later, but yeah, so you get those 2 and then the 16 action cards, which is what you use throughout the game. So yeah, so those are the components, and now let's talk about how this game works before I share my thoughts. Okay, so what happens in this game? So what you do is you set up, which you can play on a table or on your hand, which I really appreciate that you have both options. So it's super portable, low footprint. But what you do is you pick a dragon to fight at the end. Okay, so there's 4 different colored dragons included. And then you start in region 1. So think of the regions as dungeon floors. All right, so you're gonna go to region 1 where you will face different enemies and journeys. And for enemies, you use the combat value of your action cards, and for journeys, you use the movement value. So that's what you use those 2 for. Movement for journeys and combat for enemies. So once you set up, you're gonna start in region 1, and each turn you're gonna draw 4 cards, and then you're gonna have the stack of cards that you're not using is gonna be face up like this, and it'll tell you which enemy or journey you're facing. So this one, the stack on top here, the only thing that you care about is that information right there. It tells me that I need to face journey number 2, and it includes an extra obstacle in there. But so this stack will determine what you're gonna face, either an enemy, which this one, for example, if I look at the next one, if I was looking at this one, the skull tells me that I have to face enemy number 1. So then I have to puzzle with these 4 cards using figuring out the best way to use the combat value or the movement value, depending if I'm facing an enemy or a journey. I have to try to use these cards as efficiently as possible to defeat the enemy or succeed in the journey without taking any damage or penalties, right, or suffering in any way. So that's what happens. That's the main puzzle, and each card from your hand, you have to play 3 of them, and one of them may be kept for next turn, so it helps you plan a bit ahead. But you have to puzzle and figure out which of the 3 cards and how to use them to get the best possible result against either the journey or the enemy. And then once you go through the deck, okay, because when you use your cards, you discard them, and then you draw another up to 4. Once the deck runs out, you then move on to the next region. Now, by succeeding in enemy combat or journeys, you're gonna gain experience, which lets you upgrade your cards. So all cards in the regular difficulty start at level 2. And as you level up, you're gonna increase your cards so that they get better stats by paying the experience there, all right? Until they reach level 4, which is the max, and that's the best stats that the cards offer. So you're also going to be taking damage, and when you take damage, you downgrade the card, all right? So worse stats. So you're gonna, as you go through the regions, you're gonna downgrade some cards as you take damage, and increase and level up your cards as you gain experience. And you have to try to get the best deck possible with upgraded cards so that you defeat the dragon at the end. And that pretty much is the gist of the game. At the end, when you face the dragon, if you survive the combat, you win. That's the win. It's a win-loss condition. It's not a beat your own score game. Hard win or loss condition. So that's how that works. Now let's move on to my thoughts. What do I think about this game? Okay, so I have to mention the fact that this game screams Mage Knight, okay? And in fact, I have some rare footage of the developer working on it. So as it happens, Mage Knight is one of my favorite solo games, and in fact, it's my #1 solo game. So if you haven't played Mage Knight, it's gonna be a bit more difficult to appreciate what this game does. And honestly, I'm just gonna rave about this game for quite a while, but before we get to that part, I want to go ahead and get out my negatives. I want to get those out of the way, which honestly I see them more as nitpicks. So first thing I'll mention is the talk box, which is not very durable, to be honest with you. And even if I decided that I wasn't going to sleeve the cards so that I could take it with me everywhere with all the cards in there, I think this wouldn't last a lot, and this hook would tear really fast, okay? So the talk box isn't super durable. And also, although I find the graphic design to be an overall big positive for me, I do have to disclose the fact that, or warn you that the text of the region cards is very tiny. So if your eyesight is not perfect, or if you have trouble reading small text, you might have some trouble reading this tiny text. So do keep that in mind. Also, the fact that it doesn't include a rulebook, I know some folks might find that a negative. I'm honestly okay with it, because I would rather have this than just some tiny cramped sheet that isn't able to cover the information with bigger text like this that the designer offers. I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, that's really all the negatives. So now I just want to go ahead and rave about this game. So I need to disclose the fact that I've never met or talked to the designer. I've never spoken with the designer of this game. I know that he's responsible for other minimalistic versions of bigger games. He made the Gloomholding version of Gloomhaven. He made a handheld version of Mistfall, Mini Rogue. So he has a lot of experience with distilling bigger designs into something smaller. I have had in the past thought of printing Gloomholding, just haven't gotten around doing it, but just keep that in mind. Never tried any of his designs before, and never spoken to the guy, okay? Because the thing is, man, I just absolutely adore this game, okay? This game, it kept me up at night when I first got it, and I spent some time reading the rules. When I first started playing it, it just entranced me, all right? Because I was just in disbelief at how this game distills Mage Knight into 18 cards. It was just uncanny. I just could not believe what I was experiencing. And that is the crux of there is an issue here, okay? If you have not played Mage Knight before, it's gonna be a bit harder to appreciate this game. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're completely like if you've not played Mage Knight in the past, that doesn't mean that you can enjoy this. The puzzle here is just pure joy. I love figuring out how to use my hand to try to beat the enemy as efficiently as possible. I love how it scales. I love upgrading my cards. Just the puzzle is just wonderful, and it's so uncanny and so, like, I was having deja vu to when I was assaulting castles in Mage Knight and figuring out how to use my hand as efficiently as possible. And this guy, like, I don't know what sorcery he used. Okay, he obviously has experience with doing this because he's made other designs. Like, if this was his first design, like, I would be even more blown away. But he obviously has some experience creating this type of design, and it shows. It shows how much all of the work that he's done in the past, like how well this is made. And you have to keep in mind that, you know, when you have a board game and you have all of these components at your disposal, like, you can just have a vomit of components and just indulge, you know, as a designer, indulge yourself. Oh, I'll have like 50,000 different types of tokens. I'll have dice. I'll have boards. Now, something that is super difficult to do, and I know this just in general, right? With designing anything, learning what to remove, okay, how to keep things simple. That's super, super difficult to do. And the fact that this somehow, with a deck of 18 cards, this guy managed to distill the Mage Knight experience into this, it just blew me away. I could not stop playing this for like 3 days straight since I got it. And this game has been living rent-free in my head. Like, I had to force myself to stop playing it, to like get work done and to not procrastinate. And it's dangerous because it sets up in a minute. All you have to do is shuffle this deck and choose your dragon and put the region card in level 1, and make sure that this is in level 2, the cards, and that's it. It literally sets up in a minute, and you can play it in your hand. Now, one thing that I really appreciate about this game is that I don't have to play it in my hand if I don't want to. I love Palm Island, which is another hand-held card game. It made it to my top 20. I think it's an incredible minimalistic game, but I kind of resent the fact that I have to play it in my hand. The nature of that game forces you to play it in your hand, and my hands just like get uncomfortable after a while from holding it, and I really dislike that aspect of it. But I love that I can just put that in my pocket and I can play it while waiting anywhere. Now this, I don't have to, and it occupies barely any table space, as you'll see in my playthrough. All right. So you can conceivably play it on a table, and just the card play, just you know, figuring out how to use your hand, it's just nuts how it reminded me of Mage Knight, how this guy did it. Like, I don't know. Look, I think it's, again, it bears repeating, learning minimalism and knowing what to remove. There's just such a delicate balance, and it's such a tough thing to do. And I just have to applaud this design. And another thing that this game has done, it has absolutely ruined other portable games. Like, I'm gonna have a hard time playing any other portable games, like from my Button Shy library. I have an extensive Button Shy library, but this is just such a, like, what this offers, the hand, the puzzle that it offers, which it's so reminiscent of Mage Knight, and now I can play it in my hand or in a tiny table space. Why would I want to play anything else? Okay, so let's talk about the rules, right? So the rules, it's 24 pages long, right? And some people, you know, tiny game, why is the rule book that long? It really isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad. And this does a much better job than other portable games that I've seen, that I've experienced. Let me give you an example. Recently, Battle Crest by Button Shy. Look at what you have to deal with to learn that game that is also supposed to be minimalistic. Just look at this. I just got aggravated from the tiny ass text. I'm sorry. I just really dislike this, and it really disencouraged me from reading the rules. I'm sure that I'll get around to learning the rules of this, but the fact that this is the only thing that they offer, that you practically have to use a magnifier to read the rules, it really, really just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I just put it away, and I didn't want to keep dealing with learning this. Like, it's already a bit of a complicated game to begin with if you want to play it solo. And they don't even offer just a plain Word file so that you can look at it in big size, like on your screen or something. I really dislike that they don't offer that. So the designer here has the sense of thank you, thank God, he just offers the file in just a plain PDF file that you can print at bigger sizes if you want. Thank you for doing that, because I don't care. It could be 30 pages long for all I care. This is just well written, and I can print it at a bigger size and just, highlight and write over it, okay, write notes. I can't do that with these super complicated button-shy games. Like, I know that they're trying to cram a lot with the component limitation, but this could never be a button-shy game, because how do you fit this in one of these, all right? You can't, all right? And I just think that this is a restraint. Like, this is a huge restraint when designing one of these games. So I have to make that comparison with button-shy, because this is a team card game, right? And I thank you so much for offering this. Like, I can't overstate that this game, that it has a lot going on, that you didn't limit yourself to this. I just really hate it. I'm sorry. Like, I hate that I have to practically use a magnifier to read these rules. If it's a simpler game, fine. But these more complicated games, you need to offer this, okay? Now, so again, I also have to mention the replayability. So you have 4 different dragons, you have 4 different regions, and it's gonna play super differently every time, all right? You're gonna get like the permutations with the different possibilities of hands that you're gonna get with the dragon, which encounters you're gonna face, either journeys or enemies. Replayability is insane. So I just love this game so much, and it has killed other games for me.
Out of the way, you.
I don't know why I would play other games, because once you internalize the rules, which again are not that bad, honestly, there's a lot going on here. But after a couple of plays, you're gonna be going through your turns this quick. All right. I don't know why I would play other portable games, honestly. This right here is gonna, I'm pretty sure that next year when I vote for my games, this is gonna make my top 20. And one thing I do wish, though, there's a couple things I do wish. One, that there was a plastic card version of this, because one thing I love about Palm Island is that because it's plastic cards, I don't have to sleeve them, so I feel comfortable, handling them, right? You play it in your hand, that's gonna wear and tear the cards really fast. But with cardboard, I simply, like, this is not gonna last anything. I'm sorry, like, I'm kind of rough with my cards, so I want a plastic card version of this. I really do. So I hope that happens one day. And man, I want more content for this. Now, I understand, as I said, minimalism, it's tough learning what to keep and what to remove, okay? So I know that expanding this could be tough, but I want expansions for this. One aspect of Mage Knight that I really miss from this is the fact, like, picking a character, how picking a character gives you different starting card for your deck. If this guy can somehow figure out a way to add an expansion where you choose a character, that's just gonna be the cherry on top. So folks, I really can't rave enough about this game. If you have played Mage Knight, you'll know what I'm talking about once you play this game. And I think it's nuts that you can get this for $9. Like, the experience that you get from this, for the portability, for the puzzle, the replayability, is just unparalleled. And this is gonna be my go-to quick setup, just portable game. I'm ordering a second copy of this just so that I can allow myself to wear out the cards. I want to have one copy, a slaved copy, and since I don't have a plastic version, I'm gonna order a second copy that I'm always gonna take this with me everywhere. All right, this is just incredible. And again, I have to reiterate, I have not met this guy, but I think, he's nothing short of a genius. Like, how he did this, the skill required for that, and again, it shows all the designs that he's done in the past. This is probably his magnum opus. I don't know how he feels about that, but one thing I haven't talked about, the graphic design. I think this game is just so well designed graphically, man. Like it might be like slightly generic, but it's just well done. Like I can read the cards fine. One big mistake that one big unfortunate thing with some indie games is that the graphic design department lacks, but this is just so well done, easy to read. It just has some personality. The artwork, the one thing I'll say, the artwork, it has that flat color style. That's the one thing I'm not a huge fan of. I do wish that the artwork was more like, personally, if you've seen those chip theory game from Too Many Bones, that artwork that goes in the corner, that's very tiny, like little portraits of the enemies, that would be really cool. Like something a bit grittier. So these guys look a bit too friendly for my liking, but I think the landscapes are gorgeous though. I do really like the landscapes, but the enemies, I wish they had a bit more teeth to them. They look a bit too friendly, but other than that, folks, I think that you really have to try this. You can't really go wrong for the price, and I really like, if there's expansions for this in the future, like I'm really hoping there will be, because man, like just what a game, and just super kudos to Joe for coming up with this design. It just feels almost like a dream come true. Almost like how can someone distill this into an 18 card game? How can someone distill Mage Knight into an 18 card game? It blows my mind that that's even possible. But that's pretty much it, folks. And I told you I was gonna rave about this game. This might be one of the best games of the year for me, and I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be in my top 20. And like I said, it has ruined other portable games for me. Like I don't know why I would play anything else versus this. Like, because Mage Knight is that thing that that's the holy grail experience that everybody tries to go after. Like, oh, how do I recreate that? This does it beautifully. Okay. So thank you so much for watching, folks. And if you enjoy this content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.